Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Man's No Bull Beer Reviews. Today I have another beer from Bottle Logic Brewing Company. They are out of, I should know this, Anaheim, California. I knew it was by LA, but I want to make sure it was Anaheim. This beer is called Ground State. You can see there it says Barrel Aged Breakfast Stout. And this is from 2017, which I didn't realize this was this old. I had it stashed away for a little while, and then I saw it, and I was like, "Oh shoot, that could be it's somewhere between 2 and 3 years old at this point." So I need to drink this. So I'm hoping there's not much, if any, signs of oxidation, but we'll see. The description says stout brewed with Vermont maple syrup, aged in bourbon barrels, then finished with cacao nibs and coffee, and it is 13.4 ABV. I think this is only the second Bottle Logic beer, or Bottle Logic Stout at least. I think I did a couple IPAs. It's only the second Bottle Logic Stout, or like part of the Stasis series, which is these barrel aged ones that have. They're not all stouts, but all the barrel aged beers they make all have these same similar labels. I think the one I did before was Red Eye November, the Coffee Imperial Stout. So I believe this is probably, I don't know that the base is the exact same, but this is probably basically that with maple syrup. So we'll see. And so this is the second batch they made of this. The first batch did not have maple syrup in it. It was just barrel aged. Okay. So it was this also has cacao nibs, which Red Eye November doesn't. So I don't think the first batch had maple syrup. I think it was just coffee and chocolate barrel aged. If I remember correctly, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's right. So I have not had this batch of maple syrup, if I'm saying that right. And either way, I have not had this batch of it, just the original one, and I don't believe I've had it since either, so this might be only my second time having this. See, it pours a jet black color with a pretty small beige head. I mean, it's basically, you can see it's only around the rim. It's not on top of the beer, but that's pretty standard for something that's this big alcohol-wise. Does not smell oxidized, so that is great. And usually for me, oxidation is more prevalent in the aroma. Sometimes I'll get it a lot in the aroma and then taste it and be like, oh, that's not too bad. I don't know that I've ever had it where it was the other way around, where I was like, oh, it smells fine, and I tasted it and it was cardboard. Usually the aroma is worse than the flavor, so this is definitely promising. There's a lot of like dark, like fudgy baker's chocolate. I do for sure get the bourbon itself and just like that general vanilla oakiness. The coffee is there for sure. I mean, it definitely has some notes of I would say your classic big barrel aged coffee stouts like KBS. I'm really not picking up any maple at all. I actually am not upset about that because maple is like such an iffy thing in beers with me. Like if it's heavy-handed or artificial, I just don't want it at all. There's very few maple stouts that I've actually really, really liked. The one that I think it's Genealogy of Morals, maybe. I can't remember. Whatever maple stout that Hill Farmstead does is fantastic. Tiranina did one. But yeah, most of them I honestly don't like that much. But I had faith in this one, so we'll see. Man, wow. It's crazy because this is definitely warmer than I usually drink beers on this channel. It's honestly warmer than I usually drink stouts even. I mean, this is probably like low 60s. But I just had something come up today that was a good thing for me, and I wanted to also want to open something good to celebrate. That's another reason why I pulled this, not just because it was old, but I was like, it's good, and I need to drink it, so that's why I pulled this. So I only put it in the fridge for like a half an hour. And generally, I don't want stouts to be 40 degrees either, but this is probably a little warmer. And that doesn't mean that I don't like it at this temperature. I actually really like it at this temperature. I'm just shocked that the alcohol is like so muted. I mean, I definitely got a good bit of heat in the aroma. I mean, it's like vaporous. It doesn't sting the nostrils, but you can feel that you're smelling alcohol. It's not just the bourbon, it's like actual ethanol. You feel it in your nostrils. But, I mean, the bourbon is definitely in the flavor, but this doesn't have any more burn than like a 8.5% double IPA, I feel like. They have, I might have lied. That second sip was a little hotter. But they have such an awesome way of being able to make like a really nice, thick, viscous stout without being overly sweet or this might be under attenuated compared to, stuff from 20 years ago, but nowadays this is not under attenuated for a giant stout. To me, they're just in that perfect little realm of like being massive and huge, where you're not gonna, crush it that much, and it's giving you all that, that body that you want from such a big beer, but it's not cloying where you're like, oh crap, towards the end of it you don't even want any more of it, even if it tastes really good. I've never had that with a Bottle Logic stout. Some of their other weird barrel aged things, maybe those strong ales sometimes are super sugary, but any of the stouts at least, I've never ever felt that way. So I think they really have a good base going on there. So I do get a little bit of maple in the flavor, but it's minimal, and it almost seems like it's definitely adding like a little bit of sweetness, and I get the flavor a tad, but that's about it. And that actually really does remind me of the Tiranina beer that I was talking about. Now I can't think of what it is. But I know the word Bush was in the title. It's going to drive me crazy. That beer was fantastic. It was only like 9%, but it was like $2.50 or $3 a bottle. It was so cheap. So it wasn't like the best barrel-aged beer in the world, but it was super tasty, and like price per ounce, it was one of the best stouts I've ever had. This has a little bit of that, like, that doughy quality that you get from, like batter or cookie dough quality that you get from these giant, massive, flavored stouts. But it doesn't have the sweetness to go with it. So that's what I really like. I like that character, that flavor, but I don't want the incredible sweetness that goes along with it a lot of times. There's something, too, that if I didn't know what was in this, I would probably guess that there was vanilla in this, but I'm assuming that's just something from the barrels. I don't know. But this is definitely a really big, decadent beer. It follows suit with most of their stuff. I love how all of their beers in these stasis, with maybe the exception of the vanilla one. I don't know why. Fundamental Observation. A couple batches of that have been like super heavy-handed vanilla. And I don't even love vanilla that much, but the barrel character was so good, I still like them. But usually any of these off-takes of the Dark Star November, which is the regular barrel-aged stout, you get the things that are added in it, but they're not super heavy-handed, and you can always tell that is that same base underneath or something similar to it. And again, I don't know if they're getting this, if they're sourcing the same barrels every time, so I'm sure it's not exactly the same, but it's all really similar. Which, some people want huge variety. I just want that little bit of variety, as long as it has that same quality base, because you're going to get something great every time. And that's pretty much what I've had with almost all Bottle Logic stouts I've had. The last batch of Number Crunch they did, which was chocolate and vanilla, was supposedly infected. I have a bottle of it, so I hope that's not the case. But I did hear that it's not an infection. There was one of their 6 cappers. It was like faulty, so it wasn't capped right. So it's like a exposed to oxygen type thing. And nine times out of 10, people who say that beer's infected don't even understand what actual flavors of infection is. But that's not to say if it was capped wrong, it still probably doesn't taste right. I just wouldn't say it's infected. So I'm hoping I don't have one of those, but I'll probably be doing that pretty soon too, just because I want to. If it is one of those, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. So there's really no reason for me to wait, I guess, to drink it. So, but back to this beer. I don't even remember how I got this. It was probably through one of the groups I'm in. It's for cost, which is awesome. This is probably like $25 a bottle, which is pretty pricey for a 500 milliliter. But I think their barrel-aged stouts are some of my favorites that you can get. So do I think it's like a steal at that price? No, but do I think it's worth it? Yes, definitely. I don't get their stuff all the time just because shipping from California is expensive. It's very expensive. I've gotten boxes that were only like 6 bottle boxes recently, not even 12 bottle boxes that were like $30 for shipping to North Carolina, and I don't even live on the coast. So yeah, shipping's getting pretty expensive. So if I am going to get these, I usually load up on them. If I know I'm going to spend $30 to $50 on shipping, I'm like, screw it, just send me a bunch of them so I don't have to get more, anytime in the near future. So that's what most people do with Bottle Logic. When they get it, they try to get it in bulk, which isn't that hard usually either, because they don't have these fake limited releases. They actually have a pretty good production size, so most of them are pretty easy to get. So this is absolutely a buy for me. I would definitely trade for more of it, but if this was available to me on the shelf, I would buy this all the time for the price. Every year it came out, I would get at least one bottle of it. I'm not going to get a case of it because it's pretty expensive, but I would get 1 or 2 bottles just to have it every year. So definitely check this out. Any other Bottle Logic stouts are always worth a go for me. So I think that's all I got on this one. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to doing the next one. Thanks.